Now we have actually our next speaker, Adrian Volders, is actually here physically with us today, so social distancing. Your presentation is on water supply catchment solutions from the Queensland Trust for Nature. Over to you.
Thank you. I'm Adrian Volders. I chair the Queensland Trust for Nature. One of the jobs that I was doing for a client recently was setting up an ethical investment fund, and we were looking at all the things that we could actually go and invest in. And one of the things that really was lacking in the market was any viable product. There was a lot of promises, there was a lot of talk, there was a lot of things that are out there. What I couldn't really find was really good investment opportunities, and particularly investment opportunities that were going to allow us to achieve some of the things we've been talking about today in terms of building system resilience and restoring ecosystems. So the product that we're putting forward at the moment is looking at restoring water supply catchments. So most of the major cities all around the world rely on water supply catchments to support populations of millions of people. Within those catchments, a lot of the land area is in agricultural activities that are fairly incompatible with a multi-barrier approach to water supply. So what we've got is large areas that are farmed with cattle and sheep that carry high pathogen loads that have to be treated through massive water treatment plants to provide safe drinking water. What you can do and look as an alternative approach is how do you actually get about revegetating those areas within the catchments to have a more compatible land use and to provide a barrier between animals in the catchment and the actual impacts that are actually having in the waterways. So who are we? Queensland Trust for Nature. We were started in 2006 by a spin out from government. They gave us $3 million at the time, which we've now turned into an asset base of around $20 million through buying land, restoring land, finding other investors doing things like that. We work with landholders, educators and businesses to try and come up with really good environmental solutions. We are a not-for-profit, which I think is a pretty important thing. So the business model that we're proposing at the moment is basically buying land in a water supply catchment that's currently used for grazing activities, and then using our own investor funds paying for that land. One of the hardest things to do in terms of land restoration is dealing with landholders. If you are the landholder yourself, it's a lot easier model to actually work with. In those high-risk areas where there are high pathogen loads, near water offtakes, other critical points in the system, buying that land, restoring it, and creating new value streams. And by new value streams, what I mean is we can look at carbon credits, we can look at biodiversity credits such as koala offsets, creating new value streams for that land and also getting into regenerative agriculture, which is one of the things we're looking at the moment. So what we want to do is we want to restore an asset. We want to create better value streams through that actual investment. And then what we want to do is we provide most of the nature refuge services in Queensland. So we'll put a nature refuge over it so it's permanently protected, and then we will on-sell at a profit. And we've done that a few times successfully at the moment. So we bought a big area for cassowary conservation, and we made about an 8% return over about 2 years and actually restored the land and provided it. As an organisation, the sort of impacts that we're having is through the revolving fund. We do nature covenants. We actually do some koala offsets. We're starting to get more into productive landscapes at the moment. So how do we make farming and biodiversity protection more compatible? And then we've got working with landholders, and we've got a lot of partners as well. But basically the big figure down at the bottom on the right is we've managed to protect about 111,000 hectares of land permanently. If we have a look at the organisation, we're growing fairly rapidly at the moment. So our turnover has gone from a few $100,000 to a few $1 million a year at the moment. And that's basically the setup of the organisation. We've just expanded the board, we've brought a few new people on, and we've changed the corporate structure. So we are really in the position to take on investment. Just this morning, we are looking at buying about 1,000 acres of the Daintree, using other people, investors' money, and doing the same type of thing. Here is a look at our strategic plan. So basically what it shows you there is that what's our purpose? Our purpose isn't profit. Our purpose is not to make money. Our purpose is to create projects that benefit future generations. Landscapes Queensland is the company that acts as the trustee. And then we've got our 4 really key strategic areas: the revolving fund, the long-term land holdings, the strategic land partnerships and the ethical investment funds. And then basically that's how it all fits together. What we really want, so, I don't know if I really need investors at the moment. We do have a fair bit of our own money, but what I want to be able to do is I want to be able to do it at scale. While I'm buying one property at a time and restoring it and non-selling it, I'm not really achieving that much. If I can bring in other investors and other opportunities, it's a big difference that I can actually start to make in terms of the system. So if I'm looking at it, if someone came forward with $1 to $3 million, I could probably match that. We'd be looking at buying a property, restoring it, non-selling it within a few years. So if you have an interest in any of these types of things, or the Queensland Trust for Nature more generally, please feel free to contact me on the following details. Thank you.
Thanks, Adrian. That's fantastic.